In this video, I'm going to be going over how you can stream every Pokemon game from their actual device to your computer. And from there, you can stream to Twitch, record for YouTube, or whatever you want. This is going to be every game from Generation 1, being Red, Blue, and Yellow, all the way to current gen, being Scarlet and Violet. I'll also include in here Pokemon Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness. So starting off with Generation 1, you're going to need a copy of Pokemon Stadium for the Nintendo 64, and of course, a Nintendo 64. You'll also need an adapter so that way you can output to HDMI and a capture card. With all of that, you can capture the output in a program like OBS and start streaming this to Twitch or wherever you plan to stream to. Now for Generation 2, it's the exact same thing except for you need Pokemon Stadium 2. Now I think it's worth mentioning that there are some hardware mods that you can make to your Game Boy or Game Boy Color that will allow you to output to certain other displays. You'll then need adapters to get from those displays to HDMI and into your capture card. Additionally, there's a device called Pocket Analog. This comes with a dock which can output to HDMI. Now Generation 3 is where I start to actually care. From here on out you can transfer your games to Pokemon Home, and I'm actually going back and playing through all of my games over on Twitch. I missed about half of these generations growing up, and I've decided to go back and play through the regions for the first time. If you want to follow along with me, you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/devilishtruths there. Now, back to Generation 3, there are a few different methods, but by far the easiest is to have a GameCube and a Game Boy Player extension for the GameCube. This device, which is attached to the bottom of the GameCube, it comes with a disc, and you plug in your cartridge to the extension, plug in your controller, and start playing. In addition to this, you'll need a GameCube to HDMI adapter and the previously mentioned capture card. Now, important to note here, the GameCube is technically region locked. I say technically because there's a pin you can solder on the board to change the region, but if you don't want to make any hardware modifications to your device, then the GameCube is region locked. The Game Boy, and by extension the Game Boy Player, however, is not region locked. So if you were to come across, say, a Japanese GameCube and a Japanese Game Boy Player, well, the disc is the important part, you could then put your English Game Boy game and start playing. This is actually what I did because the total cost was about $300 cheaper this way. The next method for Generation 3 is with a game for the GameCube called Pokemon Box Ruby and Sapphire. You'll also need a Game Boy to GameCube link cable, a Game Boy Advance, it doesn't matter if it's SP or not, and the previously mentioned adapter and capture card. With this, there's a mode called Adventure Mode where you can play your Game Boy game on the GameCube. This method will also work on the Wii, which I think are a little bit easier to come by these days. Now unfortunately, this is where the methods which don't require modification stop. For generations 4 and 5, it'll be the same whether it's on the DS, DS Lite, DSi, 3DS, 2DS, 3D, new 3DS, or the new 2DS. And that's with hardware modification. From the 3DS onward, there's no difference in hardware mod for streaming DS or 3DS games. However, each system will have its own capture card. For the original DS, that being the thick boy, not the DS Lite, there's a capture card kit that you can use to stream both screens to the PC. This will allow you to also technically stream GBA games, as you can use the GBA slot on the DS, but it'll also allow you to play games with dual slot mode. For the DS Lite, there's a hardware modification that allows you to stream only the top screen. There's a link in the description with more information. For the 3DS systems, all of the capture cards are the same, they'll get you both screens. The only thing to mention is that they aren't actually being made anymore, so the only way to get one is to pay a stupidly high price on eBay for one. Now there's one more method for streaming 3DS games, however this does not work with the regular DS games. If you have custom firmware on your 3DS, it will have to be on the new 3DS if you want more than, say, 5 FPS. There's a software which will allow you to stream to your PC over a network connection. The video quality is like 45 FPS, so it's not that great, but there's a link in the description with more information. And finally, with generations 7, 8, and 9, that being the Let's Go, Sword Shield, BDSP, Legends Arceus, and Scarlet and Violet, all you need for these is a Switch that can plug into a dock, so not the Switch Lite, and a capture card. In addition, if you have an older Switch which you can put custom firmware on, or if you were willing to make the hardware modifications necessary to install custom firmware, there is software that you can install which will allow you to stream to your PC. However, like the 3DS, the video and audio quality is not that great. So there you have it. Did I miss anything? Did I get anything wrong? Feel free to let me know in the comments if there's anything I should add. Until next time.